Hello, everybody. My name is Mikko Peltola. I'm from A-CX, and I have Branden Crawford here with me. We're going to demo how to use AI Nexus and a use case about HR. Today, every company is running AI experiments all over the place. They have different teams engaged. They use different tools. The infrastructure is not standardized, and there's not really any visibility of what's actually happening. And this is good from a short-term perspective. You get into trials fast, but in the long term, it creates chaos. We have built A-CX AI Nexus to solve this. It's a foundation that lets you run your AI reliably. It brings you the visibility and governance. You can connect to systems you already have, or you can build new workflows on top of that. And it runs in production securely, repeatedly, and at scale. In today's demo, we're going to show how this looks in practice. So we have built an agentic workflow that connects Nexus with our HR system, BambooHR. In this use case, when you get a resume from a candidate, we fetch that, we fetch a job description, and you don't need to go through the whole 5-page resume for each candidate first time around. That would take a long time. Nexus will generate you an executive summary, pros and cons of these candidates. It's much faster to go through the first round with this structured data approach rather than having to go through the candidate and trying to find the relevant information from there. This is quite important. When you are recruiting people, you want to move forward with the right candidates fast, and you don't want to spend unnecessary time with the people who are not a good match. We have built this pattern to the HR use case, but you can easily think how you can use this same thing in the support tickets, RFPs, customer feedback, whatever. We did the Nexus infrastructure is in place to allow agents a controlled, secure access to your internal resources. Now, Branden, let's take a look. How I've built the system and how does it look like in practice?
Thanks, Miko. Here's the architecture for our A-CX AI Nexus. And as you can see, this is a full deployment in Azure that's allowing agents controlled access to MCP APIs. And those APIs are then allowing us access to external services like BambooHR. So here we can see our API to MCP conversion piece in the middle. And this is what our agents are connecting to. And when they connect to this, they're connecting through it out to BambooHR. BambooHR credentials are managed via an internal credential management service. So agents never see the credentials directly. Instead, we use Microsoft Entra to indicate which agent applications are allowed to connect to which tools. These agents get the tokens for the tools they're allowed to connect to, then provide these tokens to our MCP server. And our MCP server then uses these tokens to validate our agents. It adds the credentials to access these third-party services, and then the agents can access these third-party services. So this provides a nice secure workflow where, because agents don't directly access those external services, if something goes wrong, if you need to manage or rotate credentials, you don't have to do this on a per agent basis. Now what you're doing is managing all of your agents and their connectivity through one location. Similarly, we're doing the same thing with connections to our OpenAI endpoint. So we have a fully secure OpenAI endpoint that agents can connect to, once again, through this process, validating themselves and having their own credentials to connect to the OpenAI endpoint, rather than requiring you to do something like assign separate credentials to every agent within OpenAI. So those credentials can be managed via Entra rather than managing them via OpenAI. Once we have agents in place, what we're doing is we're making them accessible via REST endpoint. So in this case, we have an example, you can connect to our agents via LM chat or other REST integrated tools. In practice, what the Nexus provides is this conversion and credential management for accessing third-party data. So these agent apps can be implemented however you want to implement them. You bring your own apps, or you can have us spin them for you. In this demo, we're going to see, as Miko said, an HR agent app that performs resume analysis. Really, anything can be placed here and connected to and interacted with, however makes the most sense. Let me show you guys exactly what this using this agent looks like in practice. I'm going to show how easy it is to use agents built using the AI Nexus framework in practice. Here, we have our A-CX hiring portal in Bamboo, and we can see there are a significant number of applicants for this position. Initially, screening these applicants is straightforward for an AI agent, but it can be difficult to integrate agents into third-party services like Bamboo. However, using the AI Nexus, we can easily integrate third-party applications. Here, if I select a candidate, say Simone, I can easily trigger my agent using her information, and the triggered agent can evaluate her resume against the job description. make a REST request to the agent to trigger the agent. Under the hood, the agent has its own prompt and tools configured, which allow it to securely access the job application and this candidate's information. These tools also allow it to write data back to BambooHR. Behind the scenes, it's worth noting that resume analysis and Bamboo Access are actually handled by two separate agents, one which performs orchestration and a second which reads and evaluates resumes. This prevents prompt injection attacks which might be launched by malicious resumes. We can now see the agent has completed its task. And if we go to the notes section and refresh the page, we can see our agent has written our candidate fit summary here, performing the initial evaluation of this candidate, listing the pros and cons towards following up with this candidate.
Thank you, Branden. So this demo showed you how we can build an agentic workflow on top of A-CX AI Nexus. I hope it's been insightful, and you can find more information from our website. The link is here. Thank you very much.